Good morning, Tisang. Am I audible?
Morning, yes.
Thank you.
Morning, everybody.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning.
Good morning.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, honorable members. Good morning, the committee members, our minister, and the officials from the department and the other entities that we've invited. My name is Disang Mujumi, and I'm the committee secretary. The deputy minister I see is present. Kindly bear with me just for 1 minute. Before I start the meeting, I just want to check first if the members are all in here. Yeah, if members would allow me, ordinarily, in the absence of a chair, we would always elect an acting chairperson up until we've got the chairperson available. However, in this instance, last week we've elected an acting chairperson for the meeting, who was Ms. Hlongo. I would like to indulge the committee that we allow Ms. Hlongo to continue with the acting up until we've got a go ahead to elect a permanent chairperson, so that we don't elect every day. That also makes it easy for the administration to have a person whom we are able to write on behalf of during the course of the week in preparation for the next meetings and to get the program running. Can I get the concurrence of the committee on that particular matter, that we continue to allow Ms. Hlongo to act up until we've got an acting chair? Ms. Lekharaba?
Thank you, Secretary of the Committee. I second the proposal that you have made, so that Ms. Hlongo must continue to chair until such time we get the chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lekharaba. There are no objections to that, I think, because the committee agreed last week that Ms. Hlongo should act. And thank you very much for your appreciation and cooperation. Thank you, Ms. Linda, for the support via the inbox. Ms. Hlongo, are you ready?
Yes, I am, Tisang.
Yes, ma'am. You may start the meeting.
Thank you very much, and greetings to everyone on the platform. Greetings to the Minister, the Deputy Minister, DG, and the department. We've got two. Thank you very much for that, Tisang. The Tourism Business Council of South Africa, and also to the Small Enterprise Finance Agency. Yeah, all welcome together with honorable members on the platform, our staff, and everyone. Our agenda today focuses on the critical updates and discussions, particularly around South Africa's preparations for the upcoming G20 hosting, progress on the Tourism Equity Fund, and support for small and medium enterprises in the tourism sector. So I want to officially open this meeting and want to encourage everyone on the platform to participate actively in this meeting. All members contribute, and also invite yourself, Tisang, as I've officially opened this meeting, to proceed with the apologies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, King Chair. The apologies I've received, it's from Ms. Tito, who will be joining us later. I think she's experiencing some technological problems that she's unable to attend. And then I haven't received any other formal apologies, Chair, in terms of this meeting.
Thank you. You can flight back the agenda, and honorable members, let's note the apology of the Honorable Tito. We do, though, have an apology of Honorable Silo and Honorable Hlong, who Honorable Silo is attending another committee where he sits in labor. Honorable Hlong is traveling to Cape Town at the current moment. So those are the other two apologies. And then I'll hand over to you, Minister, to introduce your team, together with you giving us your overview. Thank you. Minister Delil.
Good morning, Chairperson, honorable members, Deputy Minister, the DG, and the team from the Department of Tourism, Once again, thank you for the opportunity. Chairperson, my network is very unstable, and I will request permission to keep my video off for now. Chairperson, we are here today to give the committee an update on the progress of the Department of Tourism and progress in general around the G20. As we all know, that South Africa is the current G20 president for the year 2025. We all know the theme: solidarity, equality, and sustainability. And the theme of the G20 for this year aligns very much with the government's, the GNU, 3 key priorities. And the approaches of South Africa in all of the meetings so far was to be constructive, to ensure that we attain the outcomes that can further strengthen the GNU priorities. We are also dealing, honorable members, with a number of cross-cutting issues across all the working groups of all the departments. And the cross-cutting issues include trade, gender equality, and women empowerment, climate change, finance, energy transition, and artificial intelligence. And with this cross-cutting issues, we are able to bring together many different departments and many different views from different countries. So we will also brief the committee today about the outreach program that we are planning to reach out, especially to the communities in the province of Mpumalanga, where we will be hosting our G20 ministerial meeting. And we'll also brief the committee this morning about some of the side events or legacy projects, like we call them, that the Department of Tourism is also planning for this year. That includes the investment summit, a hackathon to include young people. We will brief you on that. We will also further brief you that we have appointed, as the Department of Tourism, we have appointed a knowledge partner. And the knowledge partner that's been working with us is the United Nations Tourism Organization as our knowledge partner. And they bring a lot of experience about, previous G20 decisions, the G20 of Brazil, India, and Indonesia. So the UN Tourism Organization as a knowledge partner is a valuable resource that the department is also using. With those few words, Honorable Chairperson, I will hand over to DG Vele to introduce our team, and then through you and your permission, we can do the presentation. I thank you, Honorable Chairperson and members.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Over to you, DG Vele.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings also to the honorable members, Minister, Deputy Minister, and the colleagues on the line. Honorable Chairperson, we've got a team that is working on the G20 matters with us. We've got DDG Malan, who's the DDG responsible for, amongst other things, international relations. We also have Chief Director Monica Glenser, who's responsible for international relations. We also have from the TBCSA, the CEO, they work with us. They on the margins with regards to G20, and we will. DDG Malan is going to do the presentation. We also have with us Dr. Sipongomane. Sipongomane is responsible for a part of this particular work that will be dealing with the hackathon, and he is also part of this broader team. But it's his normal work day to day. He's responsible for tourism sector, human resource development, and he will also participate in the process. Then we've got Dr. Shamila Chetia, who's responsible for the financing and investment component of this work. So she will also assist in that presentation. But the person who's actually going to lead the presentation is DDG Malan. I will then hand over to DDG Malan to do the presentation. Annemie?
Thank you very much, DG. Good morning, Honourable Chair, Honourable Members, Minister, DM, CEOs, DG, colleagues. As indicated, I will take the meeting through the presentation from the department on the work that we are doing on the G20. The content, we will talk a bit about the background. I'm not going to go into it too much. I believe Minister also touched on it. Then talk about the G20 Tourism Working Group. Just perhaps a recap on the priorities of the tourism agenda for this year's G20. Give some feedback on the second G20 Tourism Working Group meeting, honourable members, that were hosted in May. And let me also express my condolences to all of you and the loved ones of the late chair. We had the honour to also have her at that event. Then talk about the outreach, which Minister also referred to, the G20 legacy projects around the tourism hackathon, the next steps. And then we have included some annexures for your own information. As Minister indicated, the theme for the G20 presidency for South Africa this year is solidarity, equality and sustainability. I'm sure everyone is aware that our term as South Africa commenced on the 1st of December last year, and it ends on the 30th of November this year. As Minister also indicated, South Africa's G20 presidency also seeks to address the three priorities of the government of national unity, namely to drive inclusive growth and job creation, to reduce poverty and tackle the high cost of living, and to build a capable, ethical and developmental state. We also aim to advance the priorities of the African Union Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, in collaboration with the AU. And we also focus on the developmental agenda and implementation of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Let me just close here. The highest, when it comes to the tourism working group, the highest level of engagement is the G20 Tourism Ministers meeting. Minister did indicate that it's scheduled in September, 12th of September in the Mpumalanga province. That is aligned to government's decision to distribute the meetings, including the ministerial meetings across South Africa, to ensure that not all meetings is happening in the same province and in the same municipality. So for tourism, it was agreed that our ministerial meeting will be hosted in Mpumalanga. And then the tourism working group then serves as a forum for the growth and development of sustainable tourism by promoting dialogue, exchange of knowledge, and sharing of best practices. The tourism working group is chaired by our DG, and it reports then to the tourism ministers meeting. I don't know why it doesn't want to go to the next slide. Let me just make sure. Different sectors will host working group meetings, and the ministerial meeting in support of our presidency. And all of this then builds up to the Leaders Summit, which is scheduled for 22 to 23 November 2025 in Johannesburg. And perhaps I should also indicate here, honorable members, that while we are working as tourism on the tourism working group and the ministerial working group as part of our responsibility, we are also working as a team together with DIRCO and relevant partners in the overall hosting of the G20 presidency, including the Leaders Summit. We, as the department, hosted our first G20 Tourism Working Group meeting virtually on the 5th of March, which was chaired by our DG at DIRCO premises. There's also an agreement with DIRCO for security reasons that virtual meetings are hosted at DIRCO premises. And as South African participants, we all gather at DIRCO and we attend the meeting from their premises. The priorities of the G20 tourism agenda were presented at that meeting and welcomed by all members, invited guest countries, and international organizations. Just a recap on the G20 tourism priorities. The first priority is to enhance travel and tourism startups and MSMEs through digital innovation. The second priority is tourism financing and investment to enhance equality and promote sustainable development. My apology. The third priority speaks to air connectivity for seamless travel. And the fourth priority is to enhance resilience for inclusive, sustainable tourism development. This then brings us to the second tourism working group meeting that was held in person on the margins of Africa's Travel Indaba. The meeting was held from 11th to 13th of May. And we intentionally hosted it on the margins of Africa's Travel Indaba because we also wanted to afford participants the opportunity to experience the continent's biggest travel show in Durban. We hosted the event in partnership with our partners, which includes the TBCSA, Tourism Business Council of South Africa, of course, South African Tourism, and then the province of KZN. So in the meeting, the delegates were welcomed by the Mayor of eThekwini. The meeting was opened by the Premier of KZN, and the Minister gave our Minister of Tourism, gave a keynote address setting the intentions of South Africa's year and our G20 tourism agenda. As I indicated, we were honored by the fact that the late chairperson and members of the committee also attended the session. This was then the open session the open session part of the agenda. After that, the meeting then resumed into a closed session that was chaired by our DG. And in that session, the meeting considered 3 of the 4 deliverables. When we started, honorable members, with planning for the tourism working group and presenting our priorities to the members of G20 and invited guests, the Minister was very clear that we must have actionable deliverables. So for each priority, there is an actionable deliverable. And in the second tourism working group meeting, the meeting discussed 3 of these. The first one is the action plan to enhance travel and tourism startups and SMEs through digital innovation. The second one is the G20 report on the G20 report on air connectivity for seamless travel. And the third one was an action plan for enhanced resilience for sustainable tourism development. And as Minister indicated in her opening remarks, we are doing this as a collective together with our knowledge partner, UN Tourism. The remaining deliverable, that is for deliverable 2, which is for the G20, which is that we need to host the G20 Tourism Working Group seminar for enhancing partnership for tourism financing investment and investment for sustainable development. Will then be discussed. It was proposed in the meeting that will be discussed in a special tourism working group meeting that will be convened in July this year, virtually. That deliverable, honorable members, is one of the items that we are carrying over or from the Brazil presidency last year. Work commenced during their presidency. It wasn't concluded. But for South Africa, it's also a key point. So we have agreed that as part of our priorities, we will include the work also in serving the objective of building on the work that was done in previous presidencies and not starting with new priorities every year. So when it comes to our second G20 Tourism Working Group meeting, just some of the discussions on deliverable number 1. As I indicated, the action plan to enhance travel and tourism startups and MSMEs through digital innovation. The working group supported the action plan through in general. The working group members shared their country's experiences, strategies, and policies on the deliverables, and they requested the UN Tourism to enrich the deliverables as such. And the working group also emphasized that the deliverables should be action-orientated and practical, which is also aligned to what South Africa has as approach. And as a result, the formatting of the deliverables, we will also work on it and change it, the layout differently, and make sure that the action items appears as priorities in the first part of the document that we develop. In terms of the discussions on deliverable number 3, which speaks to the tourism report on air connectivity for seamless travel. The working group welcomed the report. They emphasized the need for transport and tourism sectors to work together to address issues of air connectivity for seamless travel. Of course, there's importance of partnership there. And then some of the working group meeting members indicated that they would engage their transport sectors for inputs to enrich the deliverable that was on the table and discussed. In terms of deliverable number 4, which is around an action plan for enhanced resilience for sustainable tourism development, the working group welcomed the action plan and they appreciated this deliverable, as it's also a continuation from the previous presidencies. As I indicated, it's important that work is continuing. The working group acknowledged a need at times for a regional approach when action is taken to address specific disasters as part of resilience. And they noted the proposal from the chair that a special working group meeting will be convened in July to finalize the deliverable, considering the inputs and comments made during the meeting. Honorable members, this area of work is the deliverable is the area, especially around resilience, where we received most of our inputs. And it was agreed that it will be further discussed and agreed to in a separate or additional ad hoc working group meeting. So we will discuss this area of work together with priority number 2 in our planned special meeting in July. Also noted the recommendation that case studies will be included in an addendum. That point also speaks to my earlier indication, honourable members, that the structure of the documents will now allow for actions to move to the front and case studies to be included as annexures and not part of the body of the document. So that was, in summary, honourable members, the discussions in the second working group meeting, report of the work and the draft deliverables, but we will continue to enhance the work for presentation to the ministerial meeting in September. In attendance at the meeting was 15 G20 members, 7 guest countries, and 3 international organizations. So overall, good attendance of the meeting. I should perhaps also indicate, honourable members, that there was also a BRICS tourism working group meeting hosted by Brazil happening at the same time. So the fact that we received a good number of attendance, I think it's really something to note. And then the G20 working group engagements and exposure to the South African tourism sector included, as I indicated, honourable members, we wanted the participants to experience Africa's travel in Durban, but also get a feel of the work that the tourism sector is doing in KZN through the Club Med project, but also experience some of the culture in KZN. So all the participants at the tourism working group had access to the official opening of Africa's travel in Durban. They attended the official opening and they went on a walkabout. The minister hosted the official reception dinner, which was also attended by the African ministers that attended Africa's travel in Durban. There was a site visit to Groundville and Tinley Manor, and we took them on an Indaba heritage tour. All of this through the partnership that we had with the province KZN. Just a slide indicating the partnerships. I think I've already alluded to this, that all of the work that we are doing as a team and not as the Department of Tourism alone. So we are working with, for the second working group, we worked with South African Tourism. We worked with KZN's Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs. We worked with KZN's Tourism and Film, eThekwini Municipality, Durban Tourism, and then of course with South African Police, State Security and the NAT joints. And then we are also in all our committees, we have participation of or from the Tourism Business Council and South African Communication Industry Association as part of the work that we are doing. So importance of partnerships is highlighted on this slide again. Then, as Minister also indicated in her opening remarks, also as requested by DIRCO, that all workstream leaders and ministers must also engage or host an outreach program. We are planning the following outreach on the G20 priorities in the 3 municipality districts in Mpumalanga and 1 district in the Northern Cape. So there would be, this is what the outreach entails, a symposium in partnership with the Mpumalanga University, the community engagement in Gatsebanya district, community engagement in Gala district, and then the community engagement in Francis Bart district in the Northern Cape. This outreach program is intended to form part of the build-up program leading to the Ministerial G20 meeting, and also to share information on the G20. The program also aims to advance participatory democracy and create awareness of South Africa's hosting of the G20, and stakeholders are being engaged on potential legacy initiatives to be included in the outreach programs aligned to this theme at the moment. So we are engaging with stakeholders to perhaps add some of the legacy initiatives. Minister indicated that the hackathon and the investment seminar is some of the legacy projects that we are planning, but we are also engaging stakeholders to see if we can expand on those. In terms of the purpose of the outreach program, the first one is understanding global governance. This will be done by explaining the G20's role in global governance. Communities can then better comprehend how international cooperation address global challenges. The second one is job creation and economic growth. The G20's focus is on economic growth and job creation, and that it can have a direct impact on local communities, improving their economic well-being. The third one is increased trade and investment. By promoting free trade and investment, the G20 can help local business expand their markets and attract foreign investment. Fourth, around climate change and sustainability. The G20 efforts is to address climate change and promote sustainability, and it can have a significant impact on local communities, helping them mitigate the effect of climate change. And then the last and the fifth one is empowering local voices, informing the community about G20's benefit, encourage local voices to be heard, promoting active participation in global discussions. This slide just brings the target audience for the outreach program. It is really cross-cutting over the value chain and include traditional leaders, local businesses, students, civil society organizations, and community-based tourism initiatives. A bit of more information on the specific outreach programs. The one to Garsebanja district, the department proposed to host an outreach program that is titled Our Tourism, Our Future, which is derived from the priority of our presidency. And the plan is to host it in early July 2025. It aims to bring together stakeholders from the tourism industry, government, and local communities to discuss strategies for building resilience in the tourism sector and promote inclusive, sustainable tourism development. And we just indicated here that the Mukondo local municipality offers a mixture of natural beauty, rich history, and exciting outdoor activities. Then the outreach to Nkangala district. The proposal is to host this outreach program titled My Tourism, My Investment, which is also then derived from the priority that speaks to tourism financing and investment to enhance equality and promote sustainable development. And it will be held and hosted by Dr. J.S. Morocco, a local municipality. And again, it aims to bring together stakeholders from the industry, government, financial institutions, and development organizations to discuss how preserving our tourism sites and products today will be an investment in the future. And just a note that this municipality is the home to Esther Mthlangu village, a small rural community that showcases the traditional Ndebele culture. This then brings us to the tourism hackathon. As South Africa, again, we are referring to the theme for our presidency, the G20 presidency, and indicating that one of the G20 task forces is on artificial intelligence, data governance, and innovation for sustainable development. And for the tourism sector to respond to this focus area, the department has prioritized digital innovation to enhance travel and tourism startups and small, medium enterprises as part of our priorities. The hackathon is a challenge that will be part of the legacy of the Tourism G20 program, and it involves students from institutions of higher learning with tourism and hospitality background. So in terms of the hackathon, the delivery model, it will be competitions where participants will develop ideas using AI technology to respond to the challenges faced by broader rural communities and the travel and tourism sector in pursuit of inclusive growth and sustainability. The project is implemented over 4 phases. Pre-selection phase, which was done in May. In June, as part of Youth Month, we will bring the students together. We will assign them to groups and brief them on the hackathon process and themes. And then in parallel with the 3rd working group meeting in September, the final hackathon will be hosted. And then the 4th phase is the acceleration phase, where they expose the winners to a network of support for commercialization and scale up. So Honorable members, just in terms of the next meetings and related events, in summary, there would be an extraordinary G20 Tourism Working Group meeting, a virtual meeting in July 2025, where we will discuss specifically deliverable 2 around investment and financing, as well as the deliverable around resilience. The G20 Tourism Hackathon has commenced the work, the implementation in the last month, May, and it will run until September. The G20 Tourism Outreach Program is planned for July, and my understanding, honorable members, is that the portfolio committee will be, or members of the portfolio committee will be part of this outreach program. Then we will have our 3rd G20 Tourism Working Group meeting in person on 9 and 10 September, also in Mpumalanga. We will have a G20 Tourism Working Group seminar on investment and financing. And then we will have the G20 Tourism Ministers meeting on the 12th of September. Thank you very much, honorable members. That concludes our presentation. As I indicated, we did provide also as annexures some additional information for you to pursue. Thank you so much.
You're done, DG. That was the only presenter.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. That is the end of the presentation. Just to emphasize one small part, that you would see that where we talk about an area that is not of our direct mandate, we speak of a report, and where we speak of an area where we have got direct mandate, we speak of a plan of action. But overall, that would be the report. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
No, thank you very much for the presentation, DG. We really appreciate the efforts and the work that's being done by the department. It is encouraging to see South Africa taking leadership role in hosting the G20 tourism engagements under the theme of solidarity, equality, and sustainability. Also, the emphasis on inclusive growth, poverty reduction, and building a capable state aligns well with the national priorities and the African Union's Agenda 2063. I want to also appreciate the initiatives planned by particularly the outreach and the G20 Tourism Hackathon, as they show a strong commitment to innovation and stakeholder engagement. These efforts are timely and strategic given the global recovery of the tourism sector and the opportunity to position South Africa as a key player in the global tourism policy dialogue. So we really appreciate all the efforts the department is doing. Honorable members, I would note hands now from honorable members who want to entertain the presentation from the department.
Acting Chair?
Yes, Disang?
Yes. Since we had invited also the Tourism Business Council on the same matter, I'm not sure, did you want to allow them or not? However, they have not sent a formal presentation on this matter of the G20, which is the business representatives of the tourism sector.
Okay,
maybe
thank you.
because they're speaking on the same matter.
No, thank you. I would have thought that the DG would introduce the team and take what the DG has said. But DG, please come back again and give clarity on the matter of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa. Their presentation is captured in your presentation. Do they have a separate presentation?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. We don't have a separate presentation for TBCSA. Like I said, they support the efforts of the department in this particular process. Perhaps one small addition from their side, which they may want to come in and talk about it, is with regards to a platform where they make available products to the market. And I would ask the CEO to just say something about that. But overall, we work together. So this presentation was representative of all of us. Thanks.
Thank you very much. He can come in, get the COO.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Chipiwa Chivengwa. I am the CEO of the Tourism Business Council. Let me acknowledge the Minister of Tourism, the Deputy Minister of Tourism, the honorable members of the Portfolio Committee, and the colleagues that are on this briefing. I just want to add to what the DGF said. The work that the department and the minister is doing is quite an important work. We've always said that for us as a country to host the G20, it gives us that stamp of approval that South Africa indeed continues to be a leading country in terms of being able to host these large conferences. And the G20 is one of those conferences that just further, put more feathers on our caps when we do such type of work. The work that the department have presented, we have been involved. We do attend all the meetings to organize the work that the minister has embarked on. And one additional thing that we have done is to ensure that there is a web page that's linked to the G20 website that contains information on tour packages, those delegates that will be coming pre the G20 or post the G20. They're able to visit some of the places that we have in and around the country. So we've rallied the industry to give us some of the packages that they have. We've listed them. We've built up this web page on our website, but it's linked to the G20 website. And it's a collaborative effort between ourselves and the Department of Tourism to ensure that there's visibility of packages, and those that are coming here are able to do more than attending meetings, but able to enjoy our culture, our food, our safari, our villages, our townships, and many other places where we do tourism. So that's the addition that we have put in. But overall, we support the work that the department is doing, the work that the minister is doing. We have been attending all the meetings. We've been advising where we need to advise, and we'll continue to do so. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, as I said earlier on, here is the presentation. I'll now be noting hands from honorable members to engage the presentation from the department. Thank you. Okay, it's going to be Honorable Ishmael, Honorable Linde, Honorable Dikaraba, and Honorable Frenchman. In that order, honorable members. Honorable Ishmael, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning to you, the Chair, our colleagues, the Minister, and DG, and everybody on the platform. Thank you very much for the presentation. I must say, very, very informative. However, as usual, I do have some clarity-seeking questions. My first question is, what long-term strategic partnerships and investments has already been secured with other member states of the G20 to boost the economy of the country in the long run? Secondly is, maybe you can provide more specific details on the tangible outcomes, binding agreements and measurable return on investment achieved through G20 engagements that will directly or that are directly boosting South Africa's tourism economy, improving tourist safety, unlocking foreign investment, and advance the tourism sector recovery plan goals. My third question is, the department's presentation heavily promotes community engagements and outreach, but does not clearly show how those engagements will translate into long-term economic benefit. Now, please can you provide more specifics on how the department is intending to ensure that the outcomes of these engagements, particularly in rural communities, are sustained beyond 2025 and linked to real tourism enterprise development? And then I'm almost at the end, Chair. The presentation talks a lot about empowerment and inclusion, which is fantastic, but it doesn't say how service providers are selected, in order to ensure procurement and real participation, which aligns with fairness, competition, and, anti-elitism. Please, can you specify how SMMEs, youth, and women-owned tourism businesses are being included, not just in outreach, but in the actual procurement and service contracts related to hosting the G20 meetings, including the hackathon and district events? I think that's important for us to understand. And lastly, on air connectivity, we have witnessed that many provinces, like Limpopo, Northern Cape, suffer from poor flight access, so tourists can't get there affordably. So the department must obviously work across ministries, but then what concrete steps will the department take together with the Department of Transport and provinces to improve domestic air routes that currently, limit tourism growth in underserviced regions? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ishmael. Honorable Linda.
Chairperson, colleagues, good morning, and our visitors, good morning to everyone. Honorable Chair, you took the words right out of my mouth when you commented on this presentation. And to Mrs. Malan, thank you for the comprehensive feedback and the hard work to ensure that these engagements are fruitful. And also, together to TBCSA, thank you for ensuring that both of you is the perfect host and for carrying our flag high, especially for our visitors to South Africa. So in Afrikaans, we would say, wel gedaan. Chairperson, I have 5 just comments and questions, if you would indulge me. The focus on the digital innovation, particularly the Tourism Hackathon, is a forward-thinking initiative that aligns with the global trends and it empowers the youth sector. So we commend the emphasis on the partnership with the universities and the SMEs, and that can foster job creation, local economic development, and that is what we are here for. And to, also those outreach programs, Gertsie Bande and Nkangala, well done. Those are critical steps towards decentralizing tourism benefits, and we encourage the department to ensure that these efforts translate, as my colleague said, into lasting opportunities for the rural communities. Chair, there are 5 points that I want to make on the budget. Firstly, given the extensive scope of the G20 Tourism Working Group, the meetings, outreach programs, and the hackathon, can the department provide us a detailed breakdown of the budget allocated for these activities, including funding sources and measures in place to ensure the cost effectiveness and to prevent wasteful expenditure? Secondly, Chair, while the outreach programs target various stakeholders, how does the department ensure that our marginalized communities, especially in those small rural areas, are genuinely included in these decision-making process? And what tangible benefits will they receive from these initiatives? Chair, also on the deliverables, I'd like to say that there are several deliverables outlined in the report, such as the action plan for the SMEs, the air connectivity report, but what specific measurable targets has the department set to evaluate the success of these deliverables, and by when will they be achieved? And the Tourism Hackathon, well done. It's framed as a legacy project, but how will the department ensure that the winning solutions are practically implemented and scaled beyond this competition? What mechanisms did you put in place to track long-term impact and avoid this to become just a once-off event? Chair, and then the last on how are we coordinating with other sectors. The presentation highlights the needs for the collaboration between tourism and transport sectors. What concrete steps has the department taken to engage with the Department of Transport, and how will this interdepartment cooperation be sustained post G20? So, Chair, as my colleague said, we caution against aspiration goals without clear accountability frameworks to ensure deliverables that should benefit all South Africans and not just the urban elites. Thank you, but I enjoyed the presentation a lot. Thank you, Ms. Malan and our DG.
Thank you, Honorable Linda Garaba.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Don't mind the noise where I am. I'm at the OR Tambo flying back to Cape Town in case you had noise. But it seems as if today you are very much flexible. You gave Lyndon and Ishmael ample time to ask their question. Even myself, I have 6 clarity questions. I hope you'll give me a exact time that you have given to my former colleagues, to the former previous colleagues. Question number 1, who are the travel and tourism experts forming part of the minister working group, and how many are they, and what factors were considered in their selection? To date, how many dialogues or other various platforms has the TWG created to enable the sharing of knowledge and the best practice, particularly among the SMMEs operating in the sector? The third one is, what is the estimated value that we seek to derive from the whole process of preparing for the G20 summit? Number of tourists estimated boost in the economy and number of jobs. The fourth one is, what practical plans are in place to action the deliverables on enhancing travel and tourism startups and MSMEs through digital innovation? Who will you partner with? Kindly finish with the necessary details. Noting that 4 programs were held to expose visitors to the South African tourism landscape, namely Africa Indaba, dinner visit to Grootvlei and Dinel Manon, as well as tour at the Inanda Heritage Site. What other areas are you targeting, and are you looking into using this opportunity to shine a light on your establishment in the VTSDs? VTSDs. And then the last one is, how were the institutions selected that will be forming part of the Hackathon Challenge, and how do we stand to benefit from the competition? Let me say thank you very much, DG, for the presentation, and the entity for this presentation, because it's an eye-opener, and we can see that it's a process which is in progress. For us, it was more of opening us regarding the issue of the G20. Another thing, the involvement of community stakeholders that you are currently in. I think that's the best strategy, so that we avoid unnecessary picketing and in the communities. Unfortunately, I have to go out. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Garaba. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is...
Okay, Honorable Mashabela, sorry, I had not noted you. You will come after Honorable Frenchman, because I had already noted her. Now, after her, it's going to be yourself, ma.
Thank you, Chairperson, and greetings to all. I would like to to say well done on a very, very good presentation. And I would like to thank also the Minister and her team for a job well done. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Oh, thank you very much, Honorable Freshman. You can come in, Honorable Mashabela.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Ronelo Mashabela from the EFF, the member of this committee. Chair, the presentation, Chair, sorry, I'm disturbed by somebody's calling here. The presentation, Chair, speaks of inclusive, sustainable tourism, but fails to mention land ownership, redistribution, or community control of tourism assets. The question, Chair, is what concrete plans exist to ensure Black communities control tourism infrastructure, especially in areas like Mkondo and Siyabusa, where G20 events are planned? Again, the presentation highlights site visits, dinners, receptions, and travel, but with little clarity on the cost, procurement, and beneficiaries. Who are the service providers for catering, venues, transport, and event coordination? What local small, medium, and micro enterprises from the host municipalities were given first preference? Lastly, Chair, Chairperson, as Black South Africans, were deeply concerned about the harmful and misleading narrative being spread internationally, a narrative that falsely portrays Black South Africans as perpetrators of genocide against white population. Prominent global figures such as Donald Trump and Elon Musk have irresponsibly amplified this rhetoric, telling the world that there is the so-called white genocide occurring in South Africa, despite the damage this propaganda does to our national image and social cohesion. We've seen no public rebuttal or corrective communication from the Department of Tourism or from South African tourism. Their silence is deeply troubling. It suggests tacit agreement with this dangerous narrative, a narrative that not only misrepresents the truth, but also poses a significant threat to our tourism sector, our economy, and our reputation globally. The absence of any strategy in the department's plans to counter this misinformation is unacceptable. It raises critical questions. What proactive steps is the Department of Tourism taking to challenge and dismantle this false narrative of white genocide? What communication strategies are in place to assure the international community that South Africa is a safe, welcoming, and inclusive destination for all visitors? Chairperson, this is not just a matter of tourism. It is a matter of national dignity and truth. There must be a clear, robust communication strategy to confront this propaganda and to reaffirm the reality of a democratic South Africa where all lives are valued and protected. Without such a response, we allow falsehoods to shape our global image to the detriment of both our people and our economy. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mashabela. DG, I'll give over to you and your team. And then after the responses from your side, the Deputy Minister will come in. Then lastly will be the Minister. Thank you. Over to you, DG.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I'm going to request Dr. Sipongomane to start with the questions regarding the hackathon. Thereafter, I'm going to ask Dr. Shamila Chetia to deal with the questions related to aspects around investment and attraction of investment and so on. And then after that, I'll go back to DDG Malan, who will then deal with the specific questions around some of the roles that were played, who played what role, and so on. I do, however, need to indicate that in some of those things, some of them would not have been directly for the department's account. They would have been paid for by some of those partners. We spoke of eThekwini, we spoke of the province and so on. For instance, exposing people to the different sites and so on within the province. That would fall squarely within part of their marketing budget, and they would be the ones that would have actually taken care of that. But they would be able to take us through some of the key issues, and then after that, if there is anything that they have not been able to cover, then I would come in on the technical side. Thank you. Sipo.
Thank you so much, DG, and good morning to the Honorable Chairperson, Hlongo, and honorable members of the Portfolio Committee. Chairperson, if you allow me, I will actually delve into the questions starting from Honorable Ismail in terms of the outcomes of the programs beyond 2025. As part of the hackathon initiative, we have selected the institutions across South Africa, both the universities, the University of Technologies that are specializing in the area of travel, tourism, and hospitality. And the 18 of the institutions across South Africa participated in the process where we had to select the students that are supposed to participate in the hackathon. At least out of those 18 institutions, 2 students were selected to participate as part of the hackathon process. And these students will form groups that are comprised of 5 participants per group that will actually make up at least 7 groups. And one of the groups will have 1 participant as an additional extra. So in May, we will actually be meeting at the University of the Western Cape, where we will be bringing the groups together. And then we will actually be taking them through in terms of what is required as part of the hackathon, what the focus areas will be in terms of the areas of innovation to sustain or to improve the SMMEs and the startups in the tourism sector. These groups will work together between May and September, where the final competition will be held in Mpumalanga alongside the G20 ministers meeting. Out of the 7 groups, we will select the top 3 groups that will actually be advanced further in terms of accelerating them for the prototype solution that we have proposed for the hackathon. Honorable Chairperson, let me indicate that as a department, we are partnering with the private sector in order to deliver on this initiative of the hackathon. Not only the private sector, but also we're partnering with government institutions such as the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, who are the key leader in terms of the task force on artificial intelligence, data governance, and innovation. And they have since linked us up with the University of the Western Cape, where there is actually a digital innovation hub that has been set up in the University of the Western Cape by the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, together with the National Electronic Media Institute of South Africa. So for us to take the first session of the hackathon to the Western Cape, University of the Western Cape, is to ensure that we introduce these students to the Innovation Hub as well. And I must also indicate, Chairperson, that we're learning from the experience of the past that has been done by one of our institutions, where the Western Cape Provincial Office of the Premier, through their Center of Innovation, has previously hosted a hackathon for that office and the province. So we are also learning from that experience as well, where they are giving us their ideas and their views on how successfully they implemented their hackathon. Chairperson, some of the private institutions that we have approached because of their experience in the delivery of the hackathons and also the field of artificial intelligence is Microsoft South Africa. We are also working closely with the Tourism Business Council of South Africa and then other agents as well, such as the Hilton Group and the IT Web, because of their experience in the hosting of hackathons. I must also indicate, Chairperson, through the permission of the Minister, that the United Arab Emirates has actually partnered with the Ministry of Tourism, owing to their commitment that they made during the Brazil G20 presidency to assist South Africa with the partnership of the hackathon. I'm trying to respond to the question by Honorable Linde to say, what are the winning solutions that we are putting in place, the long-term impact? So the consideration is that with the partnership that we have from the United Arab Emirates, the top 3 winning groups will actually be assisted beyond the final competition to develop their concepts further and then also to commercialize it, to help them to develop further into the market. And these are purely youth-centered. So all the participants that are involved in the program are actually youth-centered. And I must also indicate that in our process, we'll consider in terms of the outsourcing of the service providers, such as the catering, wherever we'll be hosting the events, to consider the element of the SMMEs and also women empowerment. Thank you so much, Chairperson. These are the areas that I've picked up as far as the hackathon is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Sipho. Didi Chetty.
Good morning, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, Honourable Minister, DG, thank you. I think that there were two interrelated questions related to investment and partnerships, and both of those questions were about what the G20 platform is able to do in terms of long-term investment and partnerships. So I think that to answer those questions, the department is hosting the first inaugural tourism investment conference as a legacy project of the G20. This will be hosted in September. The opportunity that the G20 platform provides is that there is, of course, an unprecedented number of both government and business participants that are in the country for the G20 and B20 events. And we are using that opportunity of having all of these countries, government officials, as well as business sector in one space to showcase the tourism projects we have on offer. In the background, Honorable Ismail, we are working with provinces and with various other entities, including the private sector, to package the tourism projects that we have on offer for investment. And the intention, of course, is to work behind the scenes before the investment conference in September to actually pitch these projects to various partners. I think our partners in the business sector, the WTTC, is also going to work quite closely with us to bring the investors from the private sector to the investment conference in September. We are at the beginning of building relationships with these various investors on the projects that we are pitching as a country. And at this point, we don't actually have anything that we can say we have secured in terms of investment and partnership. But the G20 platform allows us to actually use it as a launch pad for our investment summit, which we will host for the first time in September. And it's an event that we will host annually each year. And that event, I think, will then actually report back in terms of what kind of investments and partnerships have been secured from that space. Thank you very much, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members. DG, back to you.
Thank you, Shamila. Anemi.
Thank you very much, DG, and thank you very much for the questions, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members. I think also a number of cross-cutting or related questions, which I'm going to try and respond to. In terms of long-term strategic partnerships, Honourable Ismail, of course, in South Africa, we have established those strategic partnerships with the private sector through TBCSA, but also organizations like Satu Vito. We work very closely with sister departments like the Department of Home Affairs, in, for example, the Trusted Tour Operator scheme that they have implemented, and with the Department of Transport. But when it comes to our international partnerships with countries, it is strengthened by our participation in the different multilateral platforms, including the G20. And with many of the participants, we do have formalized agreements, bilateral MOUs that we have signed, and that we have negotiated implementation plans to take it further than just the G20. I think Doc Sipu has alluded to the partnership with UAE in the hackathon. It is an agreement that we are finalizing it is finalized, but we are just securing the presidential minute for the ministers to sign that MOU, and this sponsorship from the UAE and the partnership is already one of the tangible deliverables from that MOU. In terms of the selection of service providers, in everything that we do as a department in our procurement, we do prioritize SMMEs, women and youth, and it's similar for G20. And we do want to localize it, as Doc Sipho also indicated. We prefer to procure in the locality. Some of the honourable members also ask questions around that. Indeed, we would prefer to get the service from the area that the event is taking place. In terms of the procuring of venues, we are guided by guidelines and prescriptions from DIRCO in terms of the standards that we must adhere to, but we do prioritize SMMEs, women and youth. In terms of the air connectivity, as I indicated, we do work very closely with the Department of Transport, and from our side, led by South African Tourism, we are operationalizing the tourism route development marketing plan that was approved by Cabinet to ensure that we work in partnership to ensure connectivity throughout South Africa. The budgets, honourable members, we, I think in both the doctors' responses, and it is clear that we do work in partnership. And if I say in partnership, it's not only in executing programs, but also in funding the programs. And as DG indicated, in the second working group meeting, many of the programs, including the experiences, the visiting the visiting of specific sites, that was funded by the province or the municipality. So we make sure that as we implement moving forward, that there's also the cost sharing from the municipality, from the province, from the department, and to ensure that not all the money comes from one budget. Now moving to Mpumalanga for the next meetings, we already have commitment from the province in terms of what they will take responsibility for in securing and providing the budget for that. In terms of the benefit to the tourism sector, I think just one comment here. Of course, it's not the benefit will not come from the tourism working group only, and that is linking to my comment during the presentation, that while we are working on the tourism working group, we are also working with DIRCO and partners in hosting all the other events throughout the year of South Africa's presidency. And from the tourism sector's point of view, in partnership with the work that the private sector did and that the CEO spoke to, the packages, we really want to ensure that for the all the meetings that is hosted throughout the province or throughout the country. Our visitors and our tourists are aware of the packages that are available, with the aim of securing them to come again or to stay longer and do a bit of tourism after or before the meeting. I wanted to also highlight 2 or 3 things around benefits to people, SMMEs and communities on the ground and in the locality. The one program that South African Tourism rolled out is on the grading, assisting establishments to grade, and it was a free route to G20 program, and that is really for SMMEs to assist them as well to grade their establishments, so that as the tourism sector we are assured of the quality of those establishments. We are also using the tourism monitors. Honorable members will be aware of the tourism monitor program that the department has rolled out. We have started in our second working group meeting, and we are rolling it out to the next one, where we use the monitors in that area where the meetings are taking place to assist us with the security aspect, but also to assist us as liaison officers for the delegations. So we're also providing them with that additional exposure. And then honorable members will be or might be aware of the sustainability village concept that is rolled out by South African Tourism. There was also a sustainability village at Africa's Travel Indaba, and we will be hosting a sustainability village at the event in Mpumalanga, also giving exposure to the products and services in the province and beyond. And we have also made this concept of the sustainability village available to other work streams that would also like to roll it out as part of their work streams, all in an effort from the department and from the tourism working group to give us as much as possible exposure and benefit to SMMEs. Let me just see. I think I have responded to the questions that I wanted to respond to. Thank you very much, DG.
Thank you, Annie. I'll say 2 things. One is how will we see that this overall G20 has had an impact? I think that would come when we ultimately do an evaluation post the G20 itself, inclusive of just the broader tourism impact that would have also come from the other work streams, hostings and so on. Then there's an issue about this issue of spread of benefits. Minister also consciously took a decision with recommendations from us as the administration to not club together, I would say, to not club together Kruger National Park and the province of Mpumalanga, which is why you would see that there will be a host of activities that are actually going to take place inside the province, whilst the Ministerial is going to take place inside the Kruger National Park. And that was to really try and underscore this aspect of making sure that we localize the benefits. The biggest spin-off, I would say, of G20 overall is the marketing dividend that we get without actually putting as much, but whether it is being spoken about on CNN or on Al Jazeera or BBC and so on, that is quite a lot of marketing dividend that we would not really have been able to buy if we were to actually go and buy that media space to communicate about the country. So people do see South Africa there, and they see that South Africa is actually hosting all these multitudes of people that are coming from different parts of the world, and having a successful meeting after successful meeting. I think that does augur well for us, and it really will assist us greatly as we move forward. I will stop here and then hand over to the Deputy Minister. Thank you, Honourable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, DG, and your whole team for the responses. Deputy Minister, anything from your side? Okay, she did indicate on the WhatsApp that she's got challenges of network. I'll give over to you, Mr. Dillon.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson, and I want to thank the honourable members for their positive comments and look forward to the support of the Portfolio Committee for us to make sure that we host a successful tourism events during this year. So thank you for that. I thought I must just explain to the honourable members that we do have a planning committee, joint planning committee, and we meet every Monday. And the committee consists of the National Department of Tourism, the Tourism Business Council, SAT, and from time to time, we also invite other experts to come in and advise us. And I want to say thank you to the Tourism Business Council for the role that they are playing, but they are with us all the way. Members can look at the website of the Tourism Business Council, where they've put all the packages together for our visitors that will be coming, the delegates, and they've done all of that and funded themselves also. So I want to thank TBCSA for that. Also, the South African Tourism, they will be hosting the Sustainability Village, where we are going to showcase the best of our SMMEs across the country. So definitely we have got a deep bias towards SMMEs and also women and empowerment. Honourable members, we also work very closely with the province, our host province of Mpumalanga. And we have got a joint operational committee that also meet on a weekly basis. And the province from their side has also made major contributions and assistance and guidance, and they are working like hand in glove with the department to make this a success. They've helped us to identify possible excursions where we can take the delegates while we are in the province. So I also want to thank the province of Mpumalanga for their support in all of this. I briefly want to just speak to the hackathon. Additional information has been, 2 annexures has been provided to the PC. I don't know whether we have given it to the members, but there are 2 annexures. The one on the overview of the hackathon concept. There are more information there that Dr. Kubani has shared with us. And then there's a second annexure on the venues for the outreach program. The outcome of this process around the hackathon is really an attempt by us as the Department of Tourism and TBCSA to make sure that we have an inclusive G20 that we include young people, and therefore the idea of a hackathon. And our partnership with the United Arab Emirates, that will be providing the prize money for the first, second, and third prize. So far, they have pledged to put $100,000 US dollars for the prize money, 50,000 for the first winner, 30,000 for the second prize, and 20,000 US dollars for the third prize. And that money will go to the institutions and universities and will further assist them also. And again, I want to thank TBCSA for the partnership with the hackathon. We are learning a lot as we go along. But I must say the inclusiveness, the partnership of South Africa pulling together to make this a success can really be felt strongly, especially with our partnership with the private sector. Then just briefly on the investment summit, DDG Shamila did say that this is an inaugural one. We're going to learn from this. And then we want to have this as an annual event for the tourism sector in the country. Also, the DG has already written to all 9 provinces and to the 8 metropolitans to submit projects for investment purposes. Once we have received these projects, we will make sure that they are bankable. They are going to be screened to make sure that when we put it into our investment book, that all the feasibility studies has been done, all the legislative requirements. So we have put together a screening committee that will be assisted by Infrastructure South Africa that will help us to screen those projects to make sure that they are bankable. There is still one outstanding issue that I am working on, honorable members, and to be further inclusive, to be inclusive in the G20 by looking at how we can involve rural tourism, rural villages, small dorpies, townships, to include them in the whole G20 legacy projects, but also to give recognition to that part of the tourism sector that is not always receiving, as many visitors as, the big urban areas. So we are working together with SATU Vitu, that is the South African Township and Villages and Small Dorpies Organization, and 2 other private sector groups. And once we have come to an agreement on a draft proposal on the inclusion of rural tourism, we will also be adding that as an event of the National Department of Tourism and as a G20 event. Briefly, honorable members, the narrative about genocide. The country has got one position, and the president and the government communication department, GCIS, they speak on behalf of the whole country. And so that's where all of these narratives are responded to. And in terms of the genocide, we can see our campaigns are beginning to show success because we are poking holes in the lies of those who are claiming that are genocide in our country. And that is where the Department of Tourism is also covered by that. But let me inform the honorable members, despite these claims of genocide, tourism between especially the United States of America and South Africa has grown by more than 10%. And the flights, all the flights coming to South Africa, they are full all the time. But I agree with Honorable Mashabela that we must continue to up our communication game to show that this is not true. This is lies. It's lies that there's genocide in our country. A number of private sector organizations have also responded to this. I've seen a statement by the Tourism Business Council, by SATSA that is dealing with inbound tourism, to show that that narrative is not true, but also to show the growth of tourism in our country. If you look at the first quarter of this year, we've received more than 2.8 million tourists to our country and visitors. But we need to continue to punch holes in the lies and the narrative that there is genocide in our country. So I thought I just wanted to respond to that. And then lastly, yes, we are working with the Department of Transport. The cabinet memo the cabinet decision of the 4th of December, of which the Department of Transport is part of, our role as tourism is to market the route development, to market the South Africa as a destination. But in terms of the mandate of the Department of Transport, they regulate and they control the airways. Just to give members one example of how it all pulls together. Last year, we went to India to market South Africa as a destination. That's the Department of Tourism. On the 12th of February, the Department of Home Affairs announced the new trusted tour operator scheme for visas coming for visitors coming from India and China. And then already in the first 3 months, we've seen a growth of over 11,000 more visitors coming from India and China. So as the Department of Tourism and the Department of Home Affairs, we have now been able to stimulate demand. And because there's now a demand, SAA is now considering putting a direct flight between India and China. And that is how we are working together as government, to bring more tourists to our country. So thank you very much for the opportunity and for the positive comments. We will continue to consult with the Portfolio Committee around the dates for the community outreach. We would like the Portfolio Committee to play an active role as part of the program, to use the opportunity to also, as the Portfolio Committee, engage with the communities. We will be covering all the districts in Mpumalanga, and the Deputy Minister will also do an outreach program in the Free State. So those are the programs confirmed for now. And also there are the national outreach programs. And as ministers, we can also join those national outreach programs and put tourism on the agenda there. So it's really a whole of government approach that we currently enjoying in preparation for the G20. I do hope, though, Chairperson, that this collaboration between ourselves as government and the private sector, and as government departments working together, that we continue this even after the G20, because that will certainly help us to improve delivery and service delivery in our country. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Lastly, in terms, some of the members ask about the budget. The National Treasury has presented the country with regulations and a protocol of how to deal with sponsorships and partnerships. And then you have to declare, like from the private sector, we have got pledges from the private sector to sponsor, for instance, the hackathon, to help sponsor the investment summit. But it's all done within a framework approved by National Treasury. And we stay within that framework to make sure that we comply with the regulations of procurement. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Minister. We do appreciate the invitation to these outreach programs, because I think they will help us do our oversight work and also engage with our stakeholders. Minister, as a portfolio committee, we therefore, after this meeting, recommend that number one, the 4 working group deliverables should contain clear timeframes that will enable oversight by the portfolio committee.
Yes.
Notable that the 4 deliverables are somewhat part of the 5-year strategic plans of the Department and South African tourism. It is important that these are infused in the annual performance plans of the Department and South Africa tourism. The issue of air connectivity cannot be overemphasized, Minister. The involvement of the Department of Transport is crucial, as there is a need for South Africa's comprehensive airlift strategy. In your next appearance to the Committee on Quarterly Performance Report, Minister, you must include an update on the work done to bring more airlines to South Africa. And also the department, it says that the department pays subscription fees to UN Tourism. It is important for the department to explain whether the UN Tourism, as a knowledge partner, provides services through the subscription fees, or if additional fees have been charged for the service provided. And then lastly, Minister, the department should provide full details to the projects included in the investment portfolio. That would be all for this part of the presentation. We would like to thank yourself, Minister, the Deputy Minister, the DG, the department. I also saw the CEO of SET in the meeting, to thank everyone who was part of this presentation. We will now proceed as a portfolio committee with our work and move to the next presentation on our agenda. Thank you very much, Minister and the team. Okay. I think, honorable members, as I mentioned, that we will move on now. We are going to be receiving a presentation by SIFA on the Tourism Equity Fund, a vital instrument in ensuring that the tourism sector becomes truly representative and economically inclusive. Today's presentation will update us on the status of the TEF, including its capitalization, implementation progress, and the impact it is making in terms of enterprise development, job creation, and empowerment. Honorable members, we noted that we had received our presentation very late at night, but I think SIFA has a valid reason why that was so, and I believe the Minister of Small Business and Enterprise is on the platform. If she is on the platform, I will hand over to her. If not, I will hand over to the one that is leading the delegation from SIFA. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. My name is Thulisile Manzini. I am the Director General in the Department of Small Business Development. And Chairperson, the Minister couldn't join us. She was going to be joining, but something happened. But I am informed that the Secretariat is aware. Chairperson, I struggle a lot with a network this morning, and I just wanted to open the video so that you can see that we are not talking to a robot. With your permission, I would like to close the video and give the opening remarks and hand over to the CEO of SETFA. Honorable Acting Chairperson and members, once more, the greetings, Minister, DM and DG of Tourism, including my colleagues in the Department of Tourism, SETFA board representatives present here with us, the officials from DSPD and SETFA and the CEO. Again, Chairperson, let us, on behalf of the department, like to express our condolences for the untimely passing of the committee chair, Ms. Lungi Mganga Kabashe. May her soul rest in peace. Honorable members, the last time we attended the Tourism Portfolio Committee, we presented transactions that had been approved up to September 2024. And since then, much has happened. Developing a viable pipeline, preferable of majority Black-owned tourism enterprises with equitable national spatial distribution is not something that happens over months or over a few months. Remember, these are complex property transactions that require to pass various levels of due diligence. Our experience therefore shows that any short-circuiting ends badly with impairments and assets that get auctioned for a fraction of their real value. In almost all the cases, Black entrepreneurs who do not get the necessary pre-investment support are the losers. The FinFind MSME Access to Finance Report 2025, which was just launched last week, makes the point that the issue is less about capital in circulation and it is more about capital readiness of those applying for the funding. Being funding ready is as important as funding availability. Honorable Acting Chair, as the committee is aware, SIFA started slowly, which necessitated our intervention as the department, DSPD, to ensure new capacity and capabilities were assembled to deliver on the fund. The impact of this, therefore, dedicated capability we have built in SETFA is very much evident. By September 2024, Chair, we had approved 12 deals valued at over 135 million. By 22 January 2025, which was the date of the last investment committee meeting, we had approved 23 deals to the value of 466 million. SETFA has since not approved any further transaction since this date due to the Department of Tourism's request to pend the implementation of the fund, which was received in February 2025. At this stage, therefore, Chair, we had 5 deals worth 140 million awaiting approval at the TEF's investment committee, and another 53 deals valued at 837 million in various stages of the due diligence that needs to happen before such is awarded. Honorable Acting Chairperson and members, the SETFA Acting CEO, who is here with us, Mr. Mbata, will therefore will further provide a detailed presentation of what we are bringing here today. And we look forward to getting the necessary guidance from the committee. We thank you, Chairperson. With your permission, Chair, may I please hand over to the Acting CE. Thank you. CEO Mbata, with the permission of the Chair.
You can proceed, CEO Mbata.
Yes, good morning, Honorable Chair. Good morning, honorable members. I'm just trying to open my video so that the committee can confirm that this is indeed the real person that is behind the mic. I will present the document or the presentation as submitted to the committee. My name is indeed Koskona Mbata. I'm acting CEO here at SETFA. If I may obtain permission to share the screen.
Disang, can you please allow Mr. Mbata to share his screen?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm on it. done, Mr. Mbata.
Thank you very much. Chair, I will switch off the video while presenting. I'll open it again when we're responding to questions, if you allow. Right. I think the presentation is on the screen. Chair, I'll start with the fund presentation. But firstly, let me again acknowledge and greet to you, the Honorable Chair, the Honorable members, the ministers on the platform, deputy ministers, DGs, and the colleagues. I will start from the beginning of the fund for the benefit of everyone and all honorable members on the platform. Just, maybe not dealing with the matters that were prior or that happened prior to the fund being stopped or suspended then in 2021. But this is a fund really that was launched during or that was meant to take place in 2021, but was then halted due to some challenges that we experienced, legal challenges on the fund. But then the Department of Tourism led the work of resolving that issue, and everything was then resolved by September 2023 in terms of moving ahead with the fund, and all agreements then were signed in October, where CIFA at that time, currently CEDFA, the last time we presented to this committee were CIFA, but now we are the Small Enterprise Development and Finance Agency, which is a result of merging CIFA, CEDA, and CBDA, which then started from the 1st of October 2024. So we are that new merged entity called CEDFA now, for the benefit of the members. Maybe some of the issues that I'll talk to will also explain why that took place and how that is helping us moving forward. Then just getting to a post that agreement that was being signed, we then started with opening the fund in 2023, late 2023. And we then have done some work up until 2025. We are in negotiations and discussions with the department in terms of the way forward on the fund and what needs to then happen. I will talk to that. That is as of Feb this year. We are talking about values that the DG has mentioned, that up until January, we had done 23 transactions to the value of 466 million in terms of approvals, but I'll go into the details regarding that issue. Chair, if I may, just break down the issue of the fund. The fund was really meant to offer both soft loans, grants, and also normal facilities. So it was a nice blended, the fund is a nice blended funding solution that will enable small businesses, not only be burdened with a lot of loan repayments, but providing that relief from a grant perspective, that will be a combination of that debt at concessionary rate plus normal debt. The fund was really made as follows. It was the Department of Tourism, 450 million from a grant point of view that we needed to blend into the loan, up to 20 million per application, but working on a scorecard, of 35%. So, which means then that from what we had if we apply for 10 million, for example, then we use that 35% in terms of grant. But then there was also a scorecard that detected how much really of that 35% you can get, depending whether you are rural based business ownership in terms of that 30% black owned ownership, and that gave rise to how much of that maximum grant you can get. But obviously, if you apply for 10 million total funding, you can't get 20 million rand a grant. It has to be apportioned according to what you have applied for. So that was the 50 million, 450 million funding from tourism that we received and confirmed as we started operating. I think there was a top up in March 2024 of this amount. That's why we have 450. Then also on the senior debt concessionary rate, we had 150 million at 5% from the Department of Tourism also as part of the funding. Then as SETFA, former at SIFA then, which is now SETFA, we contributed 120 million in a form of prime link debt, up to 15 million rand per transaction into this fund. Then we were then meant to then have matching debt funding from other institutions, which we're going to get as per transactions. So if transactions are higher than what we can offer, then we're able to approach other funders, and other funders will send their applications to us, so that then we can, at the end of the fund, have this contribution which we're going to raise. That's how the fund was made up of. But this portion is a portion that is raised per transaction, or as transactions come through, and we're able then to fund transactions of high or large values. I'll show also how much of that we're able to raise by January. But I think I have covered almost all the points that are below, but the fund was meant really to be 80% to fund 80% existing businesses, 20% startups, and it was covering across different sectors within the tourism space, and that's what we're then meant to fund, but covering all provinces in the country, and the ownership before and after the Tourism Equity Fund should be at least 30% black owned, and that was what was agreed. And obviously, I've spoken about the 35% maximum 20 million, and the governance part of that there was investment committees, but also there was a steering committee that was meant to look after this fund. Implementation phase, I won't cover much. The DG has said the last time we reported as SIFA, when we were still SIFA, to the committee, we were sitting at 135 million. That was in September 2024, where we had approved only 135 million worth of transactions, and we presented this picture to the committee. Fast forward to January 2025, we had moved from the 135 million to 466 million from let me say October, November, December, and mid-January. So in that 4 months, we're able to move from 135 million to 466 million in terms of approvals that we had for the MSMEs in this country, and that was really across the different provinces, with Limpopo having more approvals at 129 million, followed by KZN at 114 million, Western Cape at 82 million, Gauteng 37 million, Eastern Cape 36 million. These numbers are rounded up. And so the Northwest rather at 82 million, apologies for that. Western Cape at 29 million, Eastern Cape at 36 million. Followed, then the rest is Free State, Mpumalanga, and Northern Cape at 16 million, 15 million, 9 million respectively. That is where we were in terms of January, in terms of the approvals of the fund, sitting at 466 million of approvals. How that was split, It was split as follows from the funding that I showed in terms of what we had. The picture that I was presenting is the 450, 150, and all the other everything else coming through. We had been able to commit on 22nd of January 2025, 121 million in terms of the grant portion, with 329 million rand left. In terms of the senior debt money coming from the Department of the 150, we had committed 118 million with only 39 million rand left on that senior debt. On the 120 million from SEDFA, because we were blending all these and this money was small, we had committed more than the 120. Actually, we had committed 127 million, and which was 7 million more than the initial commitment. And we're going to then top up this to make sure that we continue with the fund. So, and that is where we were in terms of the 466 million approvals, or then from the private sector or other development institutions and commercial banks, we had been able to, out of the 594 million, we had been able to raise or get deals that were approved up to 100 million in terms of the co-funding on this fund. So we're able then to leverage and get 100 million for the different deals that we had from the different funders. So this shows the commitment as of that time in terms of funding these businesses to small businesses, giving us that 466 million rounded up as at January. We still had a balance of 329 million to do on the grant portion, 39 million on the soft loan. We had committed all the money from the SEDFA funding, and as I said, this match funding is raised per transaction, so we're raising that. At this point, to date, we have disbursed 125 million of this 466 to different businesses, and I will explain that also later. That's a picture in terms of the progress of the fund and where we are in terms of that. We also, this is just a breakdown that we've provided to the committee in terms of the applications to say where they are and the how do we get to the 466 million in terms of the total, but how do we separate it between the loans, the grants, and everything that we've been able to provide. Just this picture just explains this, sort of to just go back, this approval, but it's broken down into different transactions and different numbers. In that, 210 jobs were maintained, with new jobs of 493 being created. In total, 703 jobs were then maintained and created or throughout these programs. That's a total of 703 jobs, some through construction, some through running these businesses as they move forward. But I won't go into detail, but this just shows regional split of these funds. On the 125 that we've dispersed so far, again, it goes to these provinces with KZN, Western Cape, KZN, Limpopo, Northern Cape. The reason for some of the delays and Northwest, the 30 million delays in the disbursement is that most of these transactions were property transactions. So and some of them were business that were being acquired. So there were two things that were really creating delays for us. One is that when you buy an existing business, because as I said, some were these acquisitions of existing businesses, some were businesses that were being constructed. On those that were being acquired, there's two things that take place. One is the issue of advertising in terms of the Insolvency Act, between 30 and 60 days before any disbursement can take place. So we have to go through that period of advertising from an Insolvency Act point of view, so that then the new buyer doesn't have issues of creditors in the near future, just in case the business was owing creditors. So there must be an advertisement in 3 different local newspapers, so that those who want to claim in terms of being owed by the business can come through. If nothing, then we're able to proceed, so to protect the interest of the new owner of the business going forward. So that's between 30 and 60 days. And over and above that, then there has to be security registered in terms of the property so it has to go to the deeds office, and which also we normally don't have control over that, and that also takes time. But we are putting the transactions through that process and registering some of the bonds, and we are pushing and creating relationships to make sure that at least what we've approved so far, we're able to disperse and get the new owners to run those businesses. And those are the reasons. And then on the ones where there's building, we don't just pay out the full amount. We pay it according to stage of completion. So those are the reasons why there is no matching between what is approved and what is dispersed so far. But we are working hard in terms of making sure that the disbursements do take place. This slide is, I would just summarize in terms of where we're sitting on the applications in terms of what is ready. We had different applications sitting at different stages. Basic assessment, there was quite a big transactions, volumes of 3.7 billion, amounting comprising of 442 applications. And as of Jan, we had appointed 2 firms that were going to assist us in terms of capacity to deal with these transactions and make sure that we expedite and move closer to completion as far as these transactions are concerned. We had to just put that on hold a bit, and transactions that were level 1 due diligence amounted to 691 million. Transactions that were done was at motivation for committee stage were 146 million, and transactions that had been submitted to committee for adjudication at that time 114 million. So that is just summarizes what we had to complete by 31st of March, which is mostly the transactions which are level 2 DD and those that were at committee level, which we would have been able to submit. Chair and committee members, I would like to just maybe take you through some of the challenges and maybe some of the lessons learned throughout this process. The DG alluded that we started slow as an organization on these transactions, and I must then agree and admit to that. When I joined last year, May, I think we're around 4 or 5 transactions that were done at that point. And looking at the challenges that we're facing, I then, as an entity, we then introduced a different team, a dedicated team that was meant to work on this, but I would touch on it, and that was by August, and that's why we started seeing, full steam on this, including what I was saying around introducing even additional assistance to help us move on these transactions. We had some challenges, and also what we learned around that and how we fixed it. The first challenge was we did have applications, but upon looking at the transactions and going through them, we did realize that there were some incomplete transactions, and we did introduce our pre-investment to facilitate that work and assist the clients who had incomplete transactions at that point in time. And also with the 2 entities, SIFA and SIDA, having merged, that makes it easy because now the pre-investment support is in-house, and then we're able to deal with these transactions and help the clients even going forward. And that is one of the key things that has happened, that we'll never struggle with such going forward. But also we had issues with zoning, we had issues with financial statements that were being provided of targeted businesses, and we agreed that we will approve some of the transactions subject post the committee in September, subject to the issues of zoning being sorted post, and we've been able to do that. But we've learned that those things, they really do take time before they are resolved, and some transactions were struggling with issues of business licensing, which we're also trying to assist them then with that. We also had transactions, some of them that were not tourism related, that had come through, but we had to go through those transactions for us to know that they were not tourism. And those things really did, consume a lot of employees' time. And and those were the challenges, but we were able then to provide business support strongly into some of these transactions to bring them to the level that they are required. We had internal capacity issues, but we were able to resolve that through providing that dedicated tourism equity fund team that was fast-tracking the applications based in the national office and traveling to different provinces to do due diligence and bringing the transactions to the committees. We also increased the frequency of committees to get the transactions approved and also enhancing our processes and systems in terms of interfaces to support the data that we had. We had a challenge also of transactions that we're busy with, where some of them were overpriced because sellers, once they know that there's government money involved, they overprice some of the transactions in terms of selling price, and we're not able then to get into agreements with some of the sellers in terms of the right price, because we introduce our own evaluators so that we do not have problems or valuers, so we don't have problems in buying overpriced assets. And we found that then there was that back and forth with some of the transactions. But, lessons learned again is that we may have to evaluate some of these things up front, so that when we get to the end, we do not have challenges in terms of paying out some of these transactions. And we had some issues, as I said, with municipal zoning and some adverse credit records against some of the applicants, which then may take time to deal with and get letters of support for those applicants or commitments to say this is how they'll settle those debts should we give them funding to run these businesses. So those really were some of the challenges that we're facing in the program as it started. But as I said, we're able to, even on the capacity on board, two of firms that had experience in this space to assist us with the work, so that because we understood the agency of getting these funds out and committed as quickly as possible. Some of the transactions that are really, we believe, are good transactions that we've been able to fund. One is 10 teams transaction, this KZN based. This will soon be, as per the owner, the home of the SAFTAs, and we'll see this coming out and being a very good SATMA award, the new home of the SATMA awards. And we'll see this coming out strongly. We've seen a lot of work. The owner has since taken over, and they're doing a lot of work around this business that is mainly based on the river and it's good views. And we believe in this business very well. And we believe that to do well. This was an acquisition bought by Black-owned, 100% Black-owned company. We also doing some work. You see, this is the existing Durban ice rink. From a tourism point of view, this business will be relaunched and will be moved to Ushaga Marine World, the KZN #1 tourism destination. And there's a lot of work that we're doing around this. We'll then update as the new pictures come in. But we are dealing with 60% Black-owned, disabled, and youth entrepreneur that is owning this business, and 65 jobs will be created as we move it to the #1 destination in terms of Durban, and we believe it would work here. We're moving it from Durban North, where crime has resulted in less business for this business. So we believe this is exciting, and it's going to be a game changer, not for the entrepreneurs, but also for the Ushaga Marine world. This is Atrium Boutique Hotel. This is completed. It's done. We've done it in partnership with NEF and ourselves. We are proud of this establishment in Limpopo. And if any members are traveling that side, would encourage that they visit and sleep over so that the business can generate funding. But we believe this is one of the best investments that we've made in this space. Again, 100% Black-owned, running. I also happened to, when I was traveling with the Portfolio Committee of Small Business to Limpopo, I passed by, and on my way back, and I did sleep, and we did pay for the service. And that's why I'm saying it's a very good, professionally run establishment that we really are proud of in terms of a game changer really in Polokwane. The next one is Indalo in Mahikeng. Again, 100% black women-led business, strategic expansion in terms of this and diversification project. 66 jobs were maintained. Again, black-owned, black women-led, 264 jobs, including, everything on this business. And I won't touch more on I haven't been touching on our investments, but we did provide details of the investments that we've been able to put through in terms of, so in terms of the Indalo, about 30 million in total with the partners. And the other one is Quantum Leap. Again, business in terms of business that is being developed. Again, this will look even much more greater. Again, even that one, black owned, and the number of jobs is 264. And as I complete towards the end, these are some of the acquisitions in the Western Cape. Again, this was acquisition of tour business and guest house for a tour operator. We did this one for the Western Cape. Again, you can see black ownership coming through in these businesses. As I said, some of them we are paying, some of them are at the registration phase. This one is also in Durban that we've been able to approve. As I said, we are in various phases of these businesses. Some of them have been taken over by the owners. Some of them we're still in the process of registrations and paying them out. Again, here it was a business expansion in Umkababa, KZN, 7.9 million existing business that we were dealing with. And we were trying to add additional services on the lodge, including quad bikes and everything that will create a different atmosphere and attract more tourists into this business as opposed to the normal business. So there are programs, and then this is in the Eastern Cape. Again, 18.3 million existing expansion restaurant into the lodge and so forth. And these are in various stages in terms of, as I said, the restaurant will look like this, but this is the current establishment. And as I said, they're in the various stages of being paid out. And we're pushing hard to make sure that they're paid. But these are just some of them. I didn't put all of them. As I said, we have 23 of these businesses at various stages. Some have been taken over. They are being run by the owners, some at other stages. So there is impact in terms of the program and the project that we've been able to do. I would leave it there, Chair and the honorable members. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, DG Manzini. That's all from the presentation. DG Manzini. Okay.
Sorry, Chair, let me just check the DG. Thank you.
I see the DG is on the platform.
My apologies, Chairperson. Like I said in the beginning, there is a problem of the network, hence the issue of the camera. I really apologize. Yes, in as far as the department is concerned and the entity, this is what we wanted to bring to the committee. If there is any further information or guidance for us to come back to bring further, we are willing, we'll cooperate with that. Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you, CEO, for the presentation. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, DG, for that. And thank you very much, CEO, for the presentation. It is really encouraging to see that the fund is making tangible progress like with the 466 million approved, 125 million dispersed, and over 700 jobs supported so far. The game-changing projects highlighted, particularly those Black-owned, women-led, and based in provinces like KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, and Northwest, demonstrate the fund's potential to reshape the ownership and participation landscape in our tourism economy. However, it is also clear that implementation challenges remain, especially around the pace of disbursement, pipeline management, and support for applicants navigating the process. With a pipeline value of nearly 1 billion rand, it's vital that the systems and partnership in place are geared towards scaling delivery while maintaining accountability and impact. I encourage the team to continue working closely with local stakeholders, including municipalities and tourism SMEs, to expand access, improve turnaround times, and ensure support reaches the rural and underserviced communities. But apart from that, we do welcome the presentation from the team, and thank you very much for coming to our portfolio committee to present to us. I would now allow honorable members to engage the presentation of SIFA. Thank you. I will be noting hands. Honorable Ishmael, Honorable Linde, Mama Shabela, Honorable Mashabela. Okay.
Honorable Mashabela has got connectivity problems.
Okay, no problem then. Over to you, Honorable Ishmael, followed by Honorable Linde.
Thank you, Chair. Once again, thank you for the presentation. We welcome it. I must say it's quite comprehensive. However, better than the last time. However, I do have some clarity-seeking questions. Please, I'll try to keep it as minimal as possible. My first question is, you provided a list of, businesses you've assisted. But can you please provide more information of approved beneficiaries, like the type of business, more on the ownership type and location? Secondly, is that, what mechanisms have been introduced by both SIFA and the Department of Tourism to improve the low uptake of loans by businesses in rural communities? And, you've highlighted the amount of jobs that are created, but can you maybe assist with highlighting, or provide more details on how much it costs per job created? Because we're seeing some nice numbers, and obviously the more people that get jobs, we're all happy with that. The country really needs more jobs, we know that. But I would like to know the cost per job created, because that is telling us the return on investment. And then what is the estimated economic growth generated by the projects funded by TEF? And then, you're looking at transformation now. Transformation is often used as a buzzword. Can the department provide verifiable data showing how many of the TEF funded businesses are truly Black-owned, Black-managed, and operational, and how many of these operate in historically excluded rural or township areas? I think that is key, because that's where we need to reach out to give people more opportunity. And what lessons have been learned from the TEF that can be applied to future funding initiatives? I think when we're looking at long-term sustainability, what measures are in place to ensure the long-term sustainability of the projects funded by the TEF? Because we surely wouldn't want them to collapse in a year or two, and then all that monies are actually gone to waste. Can you share any success stories or case studies of businesses that have benefited from the TEF, please? And lastly, Chair, thank you for your understanding. Are there any partnerships or collaborations planned with other organizations to support the TEF? Like the South African Township and Village Tourism Association, to expand its footprint in townships and villages. I think that will give us a bit more clarity of who you're actually dealing with. I'm sorry if I missed anything. I did have a network or connectivity issue during this presentation. Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you, Honorable Ishmael. Honorable Linde.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I think in contrast to my excitement on the previous report, this one is leaving me a bit dull at the moment. So I'm going to ask a few questions, only 3 this time. But Chair, to the presenters, on the one slide it says that the DOT requested SETFA to expedite the implementation progress to complete implementation by 31 March. So it looks to me that this did not happen. So explain to us a little bit more about that. And we are in June, Chairperson. What has happened since January to June? Because the report, focuses on January deadlines, etc. So I need to know, are we going to receive an updated report at some stage? And then, Jay, as MPs, we constantly emphasize transparent governance and non-partisan allocation of funds, etc. The presentation reflects ongoing delays on the lack of clarity, and there's a lack of clarity around the adjudication timelines, as I just mentioned. So what mechanisms are in place to ensure transparency and prevent political interference in the adjudication of the TFF applications, particularly given the delays of the finalization of the agreements with the FDIs that you have? And then, Chair, there's little in the presentation about the outcomes, the monitoring frameworks, or clear performance indicators. So I would like to see what value for money principles are being applied, and not just the disbursements of it. So how will the department then ensure that the 600 million rand in ring-fence funding achieve measurable and sustainable transformation outcomes in the tourism sector? And what performance indicators will be used to track this? Chairperson, indulge me, last one. The DA would like to question the stagnation of the TFF since the reinstatement, and I know you said it went slow and the start was slow, but it looks to me that this is stagnation, and clarity on time frames and commitments is essential if we look at accountability. So why has there been no progress reported on the disbursement or implementation since the Minister's 2023 announcements? And what is the specific timeline for the rollout of the funding to qualifying tourism businesses? Chairperson, thank you very much. That was a mouthful.
Thank you, Honorable Linde. Back to you, DG and the team for responses.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will allow the CE and his team, the CIO, I see is on the line, to take the questions. CEO and CIO.
Thank you, Chairperson, Honorable Chair. I will try to just respond to questions one by one so that I can provide clarity. We can provide information to the committee submitted that provides each location and business type that we have, and including the proof of ownership in terms of documents, founding documents that shows the ownership of these businesses to the committee. I know that we did not submit that, but at the request, as the committee has requested that information can be submitted, we try to provide high level, especially without disclosing the addresses of the businesses here. And we took guidance on that, including the names of the businesses. We did not disclose it here because this is for public. Sorry, Chair, let me just respect the committee and open my video. This information is for public consumption. Given everything that happens in the country, we do not want to put the names, and so that these businesses maybe can be or may be tracked and be asked to provide certain things, given all the crime and all the things that are happening where businesses are asked to provide money. If someone knows that you received 30 million, you could be a victim of that. But separately to the committee, we can send those documents, we can send the name of the business, we can send the ownership, so that the committee can have a view of all those matters. So we are agreeing to that. The committee will provide guidance in terms of timelines. We also I think the lessons learned for us is what one tried to cover previously, that for funds of this nature, we need to have a dedicated team that is going to work around the clock to make sure that the funds completed or are utilized on time. And those are the measures and kind of frameworks that we've implemented as an organization to make sure that other funds are given focus to, and we're able to then meet the mandate of those different funds that we have. So that's number one. Number two is the fact that some of the businesses struggle with putting together all the required information, or the information that they put in terms of the application is insufficient for us to make a decision. But given that we're a meshed entity now, because the applications were done at the Small Enterprise Finance Agency, but now we've meshed that agency with the Small Enterprise Development Agency and the Cooperatives Bank. That helps us then to make sure that we've got the capacity in-house of the pre-investment, which is done throughout our 53 branches across the country. And also the co-locations that we have, which is about 52 co-locations. So we are able then to now assist businesses with pre-investment support, with training, with coaching, and with their business plans, in terms of making sure that when they apply, then, or once they've applied, they get that contact with our business advisors across the country to be able to assist them. And that is the journey of SETFA. I know that we're a new entity that started in October, but those are the things in integration mechanisms that we are putting in place to ensure that we assist these businesses to expedite the applications. And we believe that that strong pre-investment support will then help us in ensuring that these businesses then do qualify, and they are assisted in every step of the way. I mean, even with issues like business licenses, how to assist them and engage with different municipalities, issues of zoning that were really a problem, because most of the transactions that we have that we have been able to process were mainly property transactions, and there were issues of zoning. Even when SMMEs or small businesses were acquiring transactions, you find that actually this business is ready, but it's not properly zoned. So then buying it and ignoring that, is against the law. So those engagements then became key for us. Chair, am I still audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I lost the network on my side. It just went blank, the screen. So we also had some of the lessons learned really were around issues of property, as mentioned, that you find that actually the sellers do overprice the assets. And it becomes difficult because for us to proceed with the transactions, and then we've learned that valuing these upfront, it may cost us money, because if you try to value a business upfront, you may find that then it's not a viable business at the end. But how do we balance that became a key part of the lessons that we learned on these transactions. But the key one for us was the internal capacity and beefing up that capacity and having sure that from an oversight point of view, all meetings do take place, and our investment committees sit on time and were able to process the transactions, which I believe we had resolved that for this TEF. As I said, from a capacity issue as of January, end of January, we had also advertised and got an additional capacity from two firms that were supposed to help us in processing and getting these transactions over the line, which is something that we're trying to make sure that we do spend the money that we had been given on. Maybe I would leave it there, Chair, maybe on some of the lessons learned, but I just highlighted the bigger ones so that I do not spend a lot of time on smaller ones. But the speed of delivery became key for us. I think on the issues of sustainability, what we were doing as we were I believe that what we're doing as we're approving these transactions is to make sure that we work together with the Department of Tourism in engaging various tourism bodies to assist these businesses in various areas, where they're located, to ensure that they are being assisted with access to markets if they need more access to markets. I think the department, because when we were approving, the committee was made out of maybe to answer also the question of investment of governance. We had a committee that was approving, that was made out of the Department of Tourism representatives and us as certified representatives. And we had experts from the department who were sitting in the committee, who were really advising and helping us to put conditions of approval in terms of what happens after, which associations, which bodies do engage. And sometimes the department will assist us to engage and unlock assistance from those bodies even prior to the deals being paid out, to ensure that everything is done correctly, including the grading of some of these properties and so forth. So we have worked really in partnership with the department, but also there were proper governance structures made out of the investment committee, and over and above that, then anything above 15 million will go, 15 million will go to the subcommittee of the board that was then responsible for approving transactions which are higher than that amount. So from a governance point of view, there has been proper governance on the fund, and we're doing those things. Then over and above that, then our post-investment is out there even now, visiting these businesses that have been taken over, to make sure that from the beginning, we handhold and we understand what other challenges that we may not have seen that exist in those businesses, and provide further, mentorship, further training, and as I said, being a guide into engaging with other stakeholders and making sure that these businesses become a success. So we've got that post-investment element that will continuously report on to the department, to ensure that these businesses do not, once we spend this money, we do not have to go to court and recover some of these monies, but we run sustainable and transformed businesses in this country. And that is some of the things that we're doing. And we'll have then continuous reports on how they're doing, and we'll put interventions to assist these businesses going forward. There was the case studies, Chair. We have put through some of the case studies forward as I was presenting them, to show the committee what we've been able to do, as I had previously shown the committee. And these are the case studies that I was presenting of the different businesses that we've been able to fund and transform, and some of the jobs that we've been able to create in this space. I just wanted to go back and show that really we see some impact, and we see some businesses coming out in terms of being transformed. We are also working with various. I remember a few weeks ago I had a meeting with the Township Tourism Association in the PE space, around PE, where they wanted us to look into what can be done in their spaces, and the intention was to bring that to national, so that we are able to engage with all the different partners. Chair, I just want to get to the other questions briefly. There was a question on January. So we're presenting everything up until the period of January. And since January, we've been engaging with the department on, the future of the fund. So our focus currently is more on paying out the transactions that we've approved with the Department of Tourism, then leading on the issue regarding the future of the fund. So we have not head committees since that period of January until to date. That's why our report ends in January. Our focus then is to make sure that we pay what we've approved and be able to move forward on that while getting the guidance in terms of the fund from the department. So we are not reporting on old data, but this is where we are, and the disbursements are as of last week in terms of 125 million being disbursed by us. Chair, I'm not sure if I've answered almost all the questions. If there's any that I've missed. Yeah, I think I have responded, Chairperson, but I'll take guidance on what I've missed.
Thank you very much, CEO. The DG had mentioned that it's going to be yourself and CIO. So I'm checking if CIO is on the platform.
Yes, Chairperson. The CIO is on the platform, but I already I spoke to him. He is fine. He's covered, and I also think the CEO has covered all the questions sufficiently. Thank you so much, Chair. Back to you.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, DG and CEO. Well, as we said earlier on, that we do welcome the presentation, and despite progress being made, it should be noted that the committee is generally unhappy about the slow pace of the implementation of the Tourism Equity Fund post the legal issues experienced and at the inception of the fund. Secondly, the geographical spread of disbursement funds is also a cause of concern. It is understood that projects funded originate from applications. However, more could have been done in advertising the fund and even to assist applicants to comply with the funding criteria, as this is a government funding meant to advance transformation. The Department of Tourism should tighten oversight over the agreements signed with implementation agents to ensure timeless achievement of transformation funds. In addition to the funds provided by the Department of Tourism for the Tourism Equity Fund beyond the TF implementation, SITVA is urged to fund tourism projects in line with the mandate of the Department of Small Businesses and Development. The funding criteria for small businesses should take into account the nature of the tourism businesses. For example, funding of vehicles for tour operators should be seen in the same light as funding infrastructure projects, as vehicles are means of doing business for tour operators. In future, the department should always bear in mind that funding is meant for transformation. The implementation agreement signed with the implementation agents should include a clause to assist applications to comply with the set criteria. Those would be our recommendations to both the department and SIFTA. And by the look of things, we've then come to the end of our meetings. I'd want to firstly thank
Madam Chair.
Chairperson.
Sorry, Minister, you can come in. I am so sorry. I forgot that you're still part of us. Pardon me.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I just wanted to come in and give some context. And thanks, Sifa, for the presentation, and maybe a timeline to the committee. It was in September of 2023 that Cabinet approved the agreement of after it starts with a court case. We were able to get the money out of the court case and then went to Cabinet, put a proposal to Cabinet. Cabinet approved in September. In November of 2023, we went out to call for applications. Now, to be fair, honorable members and Chairperson, to measure the performance of SIVDA, as they are called now, it must be done against the service level agreement of the Department of Tourism. That is not here. then you'll be able to fairly measure. That's my first point. In terms of the service level agreement, because this money has been stuck since almost 2021, it was agreed that the money will be disbursed by and committed by the 31st of March 2025. Instead, the contract was changed to disburse the money over 3 to 4 years. And that was raised with SEFA when we picked it up. When we came to almost the end of the financial year, the Department of Tourism was going to lose the balance of the money to National Treasury. And the DG of the department had to intervene with the DG of and Treasury. I intervened with the Minister of Finance, Minister Godongwana. And the only way that we could save this money and not lose it to National Treasury, National Treasury advised us to move the money. That was a condition. We need to move the money to another implementing agent. And National Treasury suggested 2 implementing agents that we must try. We agreed with National Treasury so that we did not lose the money. Then, in January, we gave notice to SEFA that we are going to cede the funding from SEFA to another implementing agent, as we had committed to National Treasury. We had asked SEFA for a close-up report so that we can move this funding to a new implementing agent. We are still waiting on the close-up report that we wanted to have ready in the first quarter of the new financial year. So I really want to ask SEFA to please assist us with a close-up report so that we can move on and move forward. One of the committee members said we are almost 6 months into the new year. That is correct. And I'm appealing to SEFA and even last week, we appeared, there was a case against SEFA in the High Court in Johannesburg. And myself was also cited as a respondent about an appeal that SEFA did not attend to from the 9th of December 2024. Again, in the court papers, we as the National Department of Tourism asked SEFA to please give us a close-up report. I've just checked with the DG now. We have still not received that close-up report, because then we can read the close-up report together with the service level agreement, together with the KPIs that's contained in the service level agreement, and then we can measure SEFA's performance. The lesson that we have learned, honorable members, honorable chairperson, is that as a Department of Tourism, we must improve our oversight and monitoring of our service level agreements. With any contractor, we need to have contract management built into our supply chain management processes and have dedicated people that manage the contract and the implementation of contract. Because in the absence of contract management, you find yourself in a situation where we are today. Both the DG and myself, we receive a regular inquiries from people that have applied for this fund. And we received all of the many applications, honorable members, that indicate to us as a country that there is a need for such assistance to transformation. And so I will propose that we share the service level agreement with the committee. The committee can look at the KPIs. The committee can even look at some of the shortcomings from the Department of Tourism in that we did not track and monitor the implementation of this contract like I would love to see it being done. But from November 2023 to March 2025, we have not been successful. SEPA's not been successful. And I hear all the challenges that they face. But that should have been declared to the department to say, we have got these challenges and weaknesses within SEPA. We are not able to meet your KPIs, your targets that you've set for us. But what seems to happen was that these challenges came up and then had to find a solution, and that's where the delay comes in. Also, what is not mentioned in the report to the Portfolio Committee is that the Department of Tourism is paying SEPA a management fee. SEPA must also say how much of that management fee have they used already that the Department of Tourism has paid them to do this work for us. So I think my proposal, Chairperson, there must be a follow-up meeting that we compare the performance with the service level agreement and the KPIs, and only that will give the members of Parliament a clear picture of the real status. But I'm making this public appeal again to SEPA today. We are losing time. National Treasury will take this money away from us if we don't spend it this year again. And can SEPA please commit today that before the end of this week, they will give us the close-up report so that we can seed the implementation of the TEF to another implementing agent. I thank you, Honourable Chairperson and members.
No, thank you very much, Minister, for that contribution. And we will take your advice, Minister, that we do a follow-up meeting so that, as you have mentioned, that the follow-up meeting properly guide us on how we deal with the matters at hand. Like I said, Minister, before you came in, our meeting is set for 12 o'clock. It's already exactly 12 o'clock. I want to thank everyone on the platform, yourself also, Minister, the Deputy Minister, the DG Vele, DG Manzini, SEFTA, and everyone on the platform for being part of our meeting today. As I mentioned, that our meeting is set for 12 o'clock and it's already 12 o'clock. Thank you very much, honorable members and everyone on the platform. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Goodbye.